I, Sophie, 18F, still remember the exact weather that morning, slightly overcast, with a breath of cold wind that hinted at late spring. The kind of day where the world feels like it's holding its breath. So was I had barely slept the night before, tossing and turning with a gnawing blend of excitement and dread. It was decision week for Crestwood University, my dream school. I had spent months on my application, working on essays until 2 a.m. while Emily's twins screamed from their cribs. I wrote them in the corner of a cluttered kitchen, between diaper changes and late-night bottles. And despite everything, I submitted them with pride. That morning, I poured cereal into the twins' bowls, automatically cutting banana slices even as my eyes darted toward the front window. My hands shook. My chest ached with hope. Big day? Emily asked casually, scrolling through her phone with one hand and sipping coffee with the other. Her hair was perfectly straightened, nails freshly done, the smell of her cherry lip gloss far too strong for 8 a.m. I nodded, trying not to sound too eager. Yeah. I think today's the day. She didn't say anything. Just hummed and said, "Can you grab the mail before you take Mason out? His stroller's by the door." I should have noticed the tension in her voice. The flicker of something off. But I was too preoccupied with my own nerves. I ran outside barefoot. The concrete cold under my toes. I flung open the mailbox, breath held. But it was empty. I stood there for a second, just staring inside. Maybe I had miscalculated. Maybe it was coming tomorrow. I checked again at noon. Then again in the evening. Nothing. The next day came. Still nothing. By the end of the week, I couldn't sleep at all. My body felt heavy, like it was carrying disappointment in every cell. I told myself it was just a delay. Mail could be slow. Systems could glitch. But then, the email came. Due to a lack of response to our mailed acceptance and follow-up email, we regretfully assume you have chosen to decline your place at Crestwood University. I remember reading those words over and over again, my mind refusing to process them. The edges of my vision blurred. My heart thundered in my chest like it was trying to break free. I didn't decline anything. I never even got the chance. I stared at the screen until it felt like I couldn't breathe. The pain wasn't just disappointment. It was betrayal. It was grief. It was the feeling of something precious being stolen before you ever even touched it. I collapsed into bed, face buried in my pillow, and sobbed silently for what felt like hours. The dreams I had nurtured since middle school, the hours I sacrificed, the part of me that dared to believe I could be more, all of it crashed into a deafening silence. When I told Emily, she hugged me with feigned sympathy and said, "Oh Soph, I'm so sorry. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. You'll find something else." Then she passed me the baby and said she had plans that evening. Just like that, my heartbreak was boxed up and buried beneath her nightlife and self-absorption. I plastered on a smile as I rocked Mason to sleep, my chest hollow. Everyone thought I had failed. That I was just another girl with big dreams and not enough to back them up. I didn't know then that the truth was far more vicious. That it hadn't been fate, or bad luck, or Crestwood's oversight. It had been her. And one day soon, I'd learn how far she went to make sure I'd never leave. It was about 3 weeks after the email from Crestwood that everything began to unravel. By then, I had quietly buried my dreams under a mountain of laundry and sippy cups. I told myself it was okay. That maybe it was for the best. That I was needed here. But none of those things stopped the ache in my chest every time I saw someone post about their college acceptances on social media. The ache grew sharper when my friend Maya messaged me with a picture of her dorm assignment. "Wish we were doing this together," she wrote, not knowing how those words stabbed deeper than she could imagine. The truth? I was ashamed. Not just because I didn't get in, but because part of me had accepted it. Emily had said maybe it wasn't meant to be. And for a while, I believed her. Until that day. Emily had gone out with some friends, leaving me with the twins, again. They had spilled juice all over the couch, and in my scramble to clean it, I realized the vacuum was acting up. I remembered Emily had once saved the troubleshooting manual on her laptop. She never let me use her laptop. Said it had personal stuff on it. But she wasn't home, and I was desperate. I powered it up, expecting a password. There wasn't one. Out of habit, I opened her email tab instead of the document folder. And there it was, right in the spam folder. An unread email from Crestwood University. Subject line: "Congratulations on your acceptance." My breath caught. No, that couldn't be. I clicked. There it was, my name, my program, a heartfelt welcome letter, and a PDF attachment with full instructions for enrollment. It was dated over a month ago. My hands shook so violently I had to set the laptop down. My first instinct was denial. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe they sent it by mistake. But my name was there. My application ID. Even my essay title was referenced. I wasn't rejected. I had been accepted. I don't know how long I sat on the floor, just staring. I cried, not just from anger, but from grief. It was as if my dream had returned from the grave only to whisper, "You were never the problem." And then. A chilling thought. If this was in her spam folder, that meant she saw it. Or at least had access to it. Had she? I raced to the trash bin in the email account. There it was, an email from Crestwood dated the same day as the one in spam. Subject: time sensitive, confirm your spot now, deleted. By her. My blood ran cold. Why? Why would my own sister hide this from me? And then the answer hit me like ice water, because if I left, she'd have no one to babysit her kids. No free nanny. I had spent years making excuses for her, saying she was stressed, overwhelmed, lonely. But this wasn't about stress. It was about control. And I was done letting her write the script of my life. I had to get out. But first, I had to expose her. It took everything in me not to scream the truth from the rooftop the moment I found it. But I knew if I came at Emily too fast, she'd spin it. Twist it. Lie. And people would believe her. She was always good at playing the poor, overwhelmed single mom card. The one who was doing her best while her little sister, me, stayed at home doing nothing. I needed more than anger. I needed evidence. So I started collecting it. I forwarded the email from Crestwood to my own account. Took screenshots of the deleted message in her trash folder. I even found a browser history entry for a USPS tracking number, dated the exact week the physical letter was supposed to arrive. When I tracked it, it showed delivered. Someone signed for it. Guess who? Emily. I dug through the trash can in the garage where we usually tossed junk mail. And there, tucked in the bottom under moldy baby food jars and coupons for tanning salons, was a half-burned envelope. Crestwood's crest barely visible. The pieces were coming together. Disgust, betrayal, and fury mixed in my chest until I felt physically ill. When I had everything I needed. I made copies. Digital ones. Printed ones. One set for me. One for Mom and Dad. I invited them over on a Sunday evening. Said it was important. Emily, of course, tried to act like nothing was going on, dressed the twins in cute outfits, played the doting sister, offered everyone drinks. Once they were seated, I stood in front of them like I was presenting a school project. I want to tell you all what really happened with Crestwood. My parents' faces tightened with discomfort. I could see they were preparing for excuses on my part. I was accepted. I got in. They exchanged confused looks. Emily laughed softly. Sophie, I ignored her. I was accepted. I have the email, the timestamp, the PDF. I was even mailed a letter, which someone intercepted. Someone who lives in this house. Someone who burned it. Emily's smile dropped. Don't do this, she said, low and cold. But I did. I turned to Mom and Dad, handing them the printed email, the screenshots, the tracking proof. She found out I got in. She deleted the emails. She let me believe I failed so I wouldn't leave her to babysit her kids for free. Dad's mouth opened and closed. Mom's eyes darted from the papers to Emily, then to me. Emily was fuming now, no longer pretending. This is ridiculous. She's just angry because she didn't get her way. She's making this whole thing up, you literally admitted it, I cut her off. You told me you needed me here. You told me you had to do it. That's not what I said. She barked. Yes, it is. And I recorded it. I pulled out my phone. I hadn't meant to, originally. But after what she did, I stopped trusting her completely. So I had recorded our confrontation days earlier. I pressed play. Her voice, loud and clear, I had to. You think you can just run off and leave me? I need you. The room went dead silent. Mom covered her mouth in shock. Dad leaned back like he'd been punched in the gut. Emily, Mom whispered, her voice trembling. Tell me you didn't. I had no choice. Emily shouted. Finally breaking. I'm drowning here. I have 2 kids, no husband, no money, no help. What was I supposed to do? She's 17. She can't just abandon me. I'm 18, I snapped. And I'm not your nanny. I am not your backup plan. You are my sister. No. You don't get to play the sister card after you burned my future to keep me trapped in yours. My father stood. Emily. I don't even know who you are right now. She turned on them. Oh, don't act like you two were ever around. You dumped your responsibilities on me the same way I dumped them on her. Her words were venomous, but I saw it now, it wasn't just entitlement. It was desperation. Bitterness. Jealousy. She had been left behind once, and now she wanted to drag me down too. But I wasn't letting her. I'm leaving, I said quietly. Crestwood said they'll reinstate me if I provide proof. Which I have. I'll be gone by the end of the month. Emily didn't respond. The twins started crying in the next room. She didn't move. My parents sat there in stunned silence as I picked up my folder of documents, walked upstairs, and started packing. I didn't wait for their approval. I didn't need it. Because for the first time in my life, I had made a decision for me, and I was sticking to it. I moved out 2 weeks later. The final day felt unreal, like I was watching myself from outside my body. Boxes of notebooks, old dreams, and a future nearly lost filled the back seat of my used car. Mom helped me pack in silence. Dad gave me a long hug and a tight envelope with some money folded inside. Neither of them had much to say after the confrontation. What could they say? That they were sorry for assuming the worst? For always believing the louder daughter? Emily didn't come downstairs. Didn't say goodbye. I didn't expect her to. The twins ran to the porch when they saw me loading the car. Little Lily hugged my leg and asked, "Are you going to come back tomorrow, Auntie?" I knelt down, heart heavy. "No, baby. But I'll call you. I promise." She nodded solemnly like she understood more than she should. Then she waved as I drove off. I cried the whole way to Crestwood. But this time, the tears weren't just grief. They were release. Catharsis. A kind of silent scream finally finding its way out of my body. I wasn't just leaving Emily's house. I was leaving behind the guilt. The obligation. The prison of being the good little sister who never said no. When I arrived at campus, the registrar's office greeted me like I'd just returned from the dead. I handed over the proof, and they reinstated me with urgency and apology. Apparently, I wasn't the first student to face family sabotage. That alone both horrified me and comforted me. I wasn't alone. The first night in my dorm, I sat on my bed and stared out the window at the unfamiliar world outside. People laughed in the hallway. Someone was playing music too loud. My roommate hadn't arrived yet. For the first time in years, I felt a strange stillness. No diapers. No dishes. No high-pitched whining or Emily barking instructions at me from behind her wine glass. Just me. And it was terrifying but beautiful. The following weeks were a blur of syllabi, orientation, and introductions. Every time I said I'm Sophie, it felt like I was claiming my name all over again. Not Emily's sister. Not the nanny. Just me. I joined a study group. Started writing again, something I hadn't done in years. My creative writing professor told me I had a fierce clarity. I smiled because she didn't know where it came from. But I did. Pain makes you sharp. Betrayal, even sharper. I only checked in with home occasionally. Mom texted now and then, asking how classes were going. Dad sent a birthday card early with a joke that made me laugh more than it should have. But Emily? Nothing. A part of me still waited for an apology that never came. Until one day, she texted. "Emily, can you call me? I really need to talk." I didn't respond. Not because I hated her. But because she only wanted me now that she needed something. Not because she understood. Not because she changed, and I had changed. She was the one who threw gasoline on my dreams and struck the match. And yes, I rose from those ashes, but that didn't mean I owed her the flame. Some people confuse love with possession. With control. With access. I finally understood the difference.